Hello and welcome to episode 71 of Prog Review. And if you haven't already read the description, he says reaching for his CD. I'm talking about Storm Corrosion. Do the thumbnail. Yeah, Storm Corrosion. This is the deluxe limited edition, whatever you want to call it. It's the recording project of Stephen Wilson of Porcupine Tree and Michael Ackerfeld of Opeth. So a meeting of minds. I mean, they've worked together before. You know, Steve Wilson has produced Opeth before, and you know, it seems like only natural that the pair of them should work together. Now, I've been giving this a listen over the last few days. For those of you who've been following these videos, they probably know I'm not the biggest Stephen Wilson. Well, not fair. I like some Stephen Wilson. I like one album of Porcupine Tree, but usually I'm quite dismissive of what they do. So, you know, I'd heard samples of this record and I thought, well, you know, it sounded interesting enough for me to give it a listen. And also I knew that you guys would probably lap it up as well. So, well, first things first is your average Porcupine Tree or Stephen Wilson fan are going to explode with joy with the music on this record. It's quite a departure from, you know, what Stephen Wilson normally does, in that he's just kept all the quiet bits. This is an album, this is an amorphous, shapeless, gothic, prog horror piece. That's the only way I can describe it. Again, you know, these are not songs per se, these are smears of audio, smears of atmosphere. I mean, it's very atmospheric. I'm not going to do a song by song breakdown, because once you hear the album you'll understand why. It's not the sort of album that you can sit there and go, oh yes, what to say. Mellotron features prominently, so thumbs up for the old Mellotron, or Mellotron samples at least. It's probably IK Multimedia's Sampletron that he's using. But yeah, I mean that features throughout the recording, and so it instantly gives, you know, like a gothic feel to the music. Percussion is stripped back. There's very little drumming. You know, this, I think, one of the tracks, is it Lock Howl or one? I should have written some notes, but I didn't. Has some percussion on, or is it the end of Storm Corrosion? Has a bit of percussion on, but yeah, drumming is kept back to a minimum, so it's not, you know, don't expect, you know, lots of beats. There isn't any. There's, you know, supplemental and atmospheric percussion, but that's all there is. But this is very much an album of acoustic guitars and atmospheres and you know, and vocals. There are vocals from Ackerfeld and Wilson themselves, and you know, their voices kind of complement. It's a little bit weedy, you know, a little bit fey for my liking, and some of the lyrics are, you know, just, you know, a little bit pretentious, I might add, but you know, they do a very good job of building atmosphere. That's one thing this album's got plenty of. I'm going to be using the A word a lot. There's a lot of atmosphere on here. It's certainly more interesting, I feel, than Stephen Wilson's last solo album, Eggs for Breakfast, whatever it was called. I can never remember. And so yeah, but I do think, you know, fans who are coming expecting it to be like a merging of Opeth and Porcupine Tree may be a little bit disappointed. But then saying that, if they've read all the interviews, they probably know exactly what they're going to get. But yeah, as a non-fan, I did find it. I found the textures interesting. The only problem is it does get a little bit samey throughout, because it's very, you know, doom laden, and because there's a lack of percussion and like solos. It's like an anti-solo album. There are no, you know, widdly. It's very tasteful guitar playing. I must commend the guitar playing. I think it's very, very good. But again, my thing with it is very, very, very samey across the board. I think my favourite track was Lock Howl, because it played with delay, and you know, there's things going on. You know, I did enjoy that piece, and the last track was quite nice too. But where it comes into its own is the Blu-ray, because you do get a 5.1 surround sound, and it really does open everything up. I mean, yeah, listen to it in stereo is nice, and you know, you get a sense of atmosphere, but in the surround sound, you know, Stephen Wilson does his usual excellent job of you know, mixing it. It's really good. You also get a load of demo tracks and instrumental versions as well to pick through. So yeah, so it's well worth picking up the extra edition, the Blu-ray collector's edition, if you're into all things surround sound. Yeah, again, I mean, I've listened to it a couple of times. I've been listening to it the last few days, and it's one of those records. Again, if you know, once you hear it, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. It's not something that you can say, well, I really like that track. It's quite unusual. Again, it's a pretty brave record, especially who they are, you know, and the kind of audience that they've got. You know, it's just, you know, I draw parallels with the expectation of Frippinino when they brought out No Pussyfoot, and everyone was expecting a combination of Crimson and Roxy, and they got droning. And this is similar with this. You know, it's almost like they've followed that template and said, well, we're going to completely, you know, we're not going to do that, we're going to do something different. So it's commendable that they've done that. Whether or not this is something you're going to, you know, play endlessly, I mean, yeah, there will be people out there that will fall to their feet and praise the heavens, and you know, and generally want to kiss Stephen Wilson's ring, not his ring piece. You naughty people making your own jokes. But you know, there will be people that do that. But you know, I is it a work of sublime genius? No, it's not. There's a lot of droning, and there's you know, it's, you know. But in saying that, I did find it interesting, purely on a textural, atmospheric level. But it's not something that I would sit down and choose to listen to. I wouldn't think, oh, I must put on some Storm Corrosion. It's not one of those records. Not one of those records at all. You know, you wouldn't pick your favourite hit off of it, if you know what I mean. And that's what makes it intriguing, because it is shapeless. It's amorphous. It's almost like a soundtrack album. You know, it's almost like that. Would I recommend it? Yeah, to annoy someone you don't like, you know. You know, I like the artwork. I thought the artwork's really good, and the design of it, I thought that was nice. I really like the freaky goblins dancing all over the place. I like the 1960s aesthetic that they put into the album design. It really does go well with the music, especially with the Blu-ray. You know, you get images of the artwork zoom in, you know, past, so it really does add to the atmosphere. So yeah, so that's it. I better wind up. I don't know how long I've been blabbering on for. You know, a rating. Well, you know, I didn't totally dislike it. I didn't totally hate it. There were some bits that I thought was interesting, some bits not so. You know, it's a game of two halves. But because who they are, I like the fact that they're kind of flicking the V's at their fans, though, you know. So yeah, I'm going to give this I'm going to give it 2 ratings. I'm going to give it 3 hags out of 5 for the stereo, and 4 hags out of 5 for the surround sound, because they're 2 different entities. You know, the stereo is very flat, whereas, you know, if you really want to immerse yourself and really get the atmosphere of the album, you really do need it to hear it in surround sound. Yeah, I mean, very strange record, very brave record again. I keep saying that, but you know, I like it as an artistic statement, but I wouldn't necessarily sit down and choose to listen to it, if that makes any sense. Do you get what I'm saying? That's it. My name's been Darren Locke. I've been burbling on about Storm Corrosion, and you've been a very patient audience, looking at this old fizzog. Social networking, thumbs up, thumbs down, la da 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 da. whatever else you want to do. Obviously, I'm in decline. I'm just winding down. It's very late. Neighbours have been having a party, so I ended up making this recording a lot later than I intended to. So because of the sound, I'm even whispering now because it's really quite late. So that's it. Only one more thing to say. Prog on.